What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm going to do a little house cleaning here so Scotty feels more comfortable.
Oh, there we go.
That's not what I meant to do.
I love
there we go.
I'm busy.
It didn't let me do what I wanted to do. There we go.
Jesus
now
Christ.
Tony's in charge. No.
All dizzy.
All right.
Kyle's getting right now.
Welcome, everybody. So we got Tony, the professor, with us. Scotty Wishlist in the house. Actually, it looks like... Did we have... Oh, no, I was mistaken. I thought the captain may join us at some point. James may be on here.
Captain!
But Corey has a cranky baby, so he will not be with us tonight. So we're going to talk about rookies tonight, guys. I know it's been a little over a week now since the draft. We were hoping to see maybe some post-draft trades or free agent signings. There hadn't really been a lot in that department. So let's just start kicking off talking about these rookies. And where else do you start besides Bijan Robinson? Is there a more perfect landing spot for him than Atlanta?
You go, Professor. You want to start?
Well, I mean, it's probably, you're probably right about that, Kyle. The perfect landing spot for Bijan Robinson, who already kind of looks like he has the makings of not just a workhorse running back, but you know, the coaching staff out of Texas said that had he played the receiver position, he would have been the receiver one on that team. So think about that for a second. We got a guy coming to Atlanta. We've got a coach in Arthur Smith who likes to feature the running back. We've got the prototypical running back to be featured. And man, that entire offense is going to run through Bijan Robinson. He's really got, you know, for those who are, you know, Scotty and I are a little bit older. For those who can remember Marshall Faulk and the Marshall Faulk days, it used to be where if you didn't have Marshall Faulk on your roster, you weren't going to win. You know, whoever had Marshall Faulk was a lock to win the fantasy season, and Bijan Robinson could be that type of guy.
1,000%. And with the Marshall Faulk reference, he's talking about not only is he going to put up number one talent running back stats in fantasy, he's also going to put up wide receiver stats in fantasy, like 100%. Over 50 catches, easy. I mean, of course, injuries come into play, but like Professor said, you got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. It's actually an exciting offense forming in Atlanta, and we'll see what Ritter can do.
I think Ritter can handle it.
I mean, I could handle it. I think if I go into a huddle with those three, I'm pretty confident. And when the draft was happening, I'm an NFC East fan, so I was hoping Atlanta would take them because the Eagles were right behind, and that would have been an amazing landing spot as well. Yeah. But Atlanta's an amazing landing spot. Moves Bijan as like the running back one in Dynasty. He's the guy to take.
Yeah, I agree.
What are your thoughts? Just kind of you throw out there Drake London and Kyle Pitts. What are your thoughts on London and Pitts in this offense that's going to feature Bijan?
It opens up things for them. I think Drake London actually had a very good rookie season. You know, you're not expecting him to just jump out. And I know you agree with me, Tony. Drake London it has huge upside. And not to go too deep into it with Pitts, for me, this is Pitts. Like if I'm a Pitts owner, I'm paying attention this year on Pitts. This is his breakout year. If he doesn't break out, I'm looking to trade him mid-season. Like if he's starting slow, Pitts, this is the year I'm like, all right, Pitts, this is where I want you to catch 80 balls, 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. That, you know, that's where I'm looking at. I have confidence in Drake London. I think Drake London's going to have a solid year.
Yeah, I think that's where my concern would be, if there is a concern, is how it's going to impact the passing game. This is a team that already was at the bottom of the list in the NFL in pass attempts, you know, under, I think, 412 pass attempts last year. And just for a comparison, Tom Brady last year threw the ball 733 times. He led the league in pass attempts. So think about that. You know, 733 attempts from the league leader in attempts to the Atlanta Falcons, who just do not throw the ball very much. So my only concern with London and Pitts is not a whole lot of volume, and one of those guys I have a feeling is going to be left out. I think between the two, London is an alpha. This guy is a legit number one receiver. He kind of has the scouting profile to fit all of the check boxes for what you want in a lead receiver. I think Pitts might be the odd man left out in this offense. I'd be a little bit concerned about Pitts.
I agree, Tony. And also to add to that, the division got weak. I think they're going to stick with the run game, and I think Bijan is going to be the vocal point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm just saying more of a reason that he's going to be the vocal point.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Already got AJB on here, getting ready to bust everybody's balls. Maldonado. It's not a rookie question, but how do y'all feel about Ayuk? Scotty, we'll start with you, bud.
Yeah, how do I feel about Ayuk? I'm taking chances on other guys. I'd rather Addison from the Vikings over Ayuk. I mean, I guess he doesn't tickle my nuts, if you want me to say that. Ayuk doesn't tickle my nuts. Ayuk probably will not be on my fantasy rosters.
Ayuk is going to be once again a wide receiver 3 boomer bust.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey addition, I think, really knocked Ayuk. Ayuk is just not going to be a focal point in this offense. He doesn't command the target share, AJ. I mean, that's the issue here. He last year averaged under 18% target share in an offense that doesn't seem to want to drive and get the ball to him often enough to make him reliable. So I agree with Scotty. I'm not going to have any shares of Ayuk this year. I just don't trust him as it'd be one thing if he was a boomer bust wide receiver 1, but a wide receiver 3 boomer bust to me is not something I'm interested in.
And to add to that, Tony, Ayuk, when he became a face in fantasy, they didn't have Christian McCaffrey. Kittle was hurt and Debo was hurt. So it was just Ayuk. And then when Kittle came back, when Debo came back, and now you're adding Christian McCaffrey, there's only enough balls to go around. And Ayuk, I'm not even going to waste my time.
Right. Totally agree. Yeah. McCaffrey really is in the 20 to 25% target share in that offense. I mean, which is crazy for a running back. But I'm not crazy about Ayuk.
Agreed. AJB just said basically he wants to go fuck himself with this message, I think.
Yes.
I don't even know if I should dignify it with an answer, but
CD sheep.
Yeah. CD sheep. Tony Pollard greens.
Yeah, I kind of read a couple of things. Are there some injury concerns with Pollard? Or is there some stuff I'd read about that?
Well, he broke his leg last year, so he's trying to heal that up.
For me, that's a buy low opportunity on Tony
for the
Pollard.
off season, but I'm not concerned about it.
How serious are the Bucs with Ezekiel Elliott? I saw some reports
today. Was the first thing I've seen about it, saying that they just want a good backup, but they just signed Sean Tucker, so I really don't see them also signing Zeke.
That team's gonna be garbage.
They're only looking for good backups as a very hopeful Rachaad White owner. Yeah. You know, it's like just when everyone who has Rachaad White was able to exhale after that draft, now all of a sudden we're seeing possibility of bringing in.
Well, I saw probably the same report he did, and it literally said they're just looking for depth. I mean, with Zeke, that's all you're going to get anyways. Sean Tucker might eat into his workload a little bit more. But
when you've got a running back who's seasoned like Zeke, who can run block the way Zeke does, or pass block the way Zeke does, picking up those linebackers and blitzers, he's going to find himself on the field
and
blocking.
Than you might think.
Blocking.
And I was in a dynasty draft actually yesterday, and you actually drop 5 guys, and that adds into the rookie draft. Zeke was like, I was going to take a chance on Zeke he's only 27. I know the treads on his tires are worn.
Bald tires.
I understand. He's like a 34-year-old running back, but he is 27 years old. So I took, I didn't get him, but the thought was there where I'm like, I'll have him be my RB5.
Yeah. I think it also might have been a case of Zeke's agent throwing team names out again.
Yeah.
Like he did earlier the off season. When he signs with somebody, I'll believe that they were actually interested.
I was taking Zeke in case like a team got into an injury problem and now he becomes your starter. He's better than Latavius Murray, where everybody jumps on him on the waivers. Latavius Murray seems like the guy every year. The guy gets hurt, and Latavius Murray's the guy who steps in. I'm like, wasn't he just on such and such, such and such? Latavius Murray's like, I'm very, very sneaky, sir. I'm very, very sneaky.
Exactly.
How many teams are you on?
I think you were underestimating my sneakiness, sir. No, the ones I'm worried about, the free agents out there, are not Zeke because he's worn out.
He is.
But it's more like Fournette and Hunt. Okay, where are they going to land? Now that the draft is gone, there's all of these running back owners like Rashad White, like Ramondre Stevenson, that are like sighing this big sigh of relief. And it's like, now these free agents are going to go land in all these spots and murky those up too. So those are the ones I'm waiting on to see before I get too comfortable.
Yeah, so there's rumors with him at both for Dallas and Carolina.
Yeah.
Fournette. How about Big Lenny?
Yeah, Big Lenny.
Don't sleep on Big Lenny just yet.
I wouldn't hate Lenny in Dallas. Like for fantasy, not so much, but like in real life, I would actually love that. Jay Gore. Corey's looking a little bit different tonight. A little bit older, a little bit hairier on the face, but it's still very handsome.
Better looking.
Still very, very handsome. AJB wants to know dynasty redraft. Okay, well, I guess address both. Should he go after Jordan Love?
At the right price. Yeah. At the right price,
Which is very, very late.
Yeah.
And only as a backup.
Listen, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was funny that all these years that kind of fans have been clamoring for Green Bay to give some receivers to Aaron Rodgers, and they don't draft any. Green Bay makes a statement this year in the draft, and they draft some weapons for Jordan Love. Look, here's the thing with Jordan Love.
I thought that was the biggest troll on the planet when they did that. Two tight ends, a receiver, like Jesus.
Jordan Love's got some weapons. Christian Watson is ridiculous. The guy's just got freaky ability, extremely athletic. One of the fastest guys on the field. We saw last year. Every year, 50% of the time he touched the ball over a 4 or 5 week span, he scored a touchdown. So that helps quarterbacks like Jordan Love, and just with the dual threat, guys who can scramble and run and get you yards with the legs are always an asset in fantasy. So, I think for me, he's worth a gamble. Am I drafting him, banking on him being my QB1? That would make me nervous.
Right. Yes. And with that said, I want to say something to just shake things up and to get people pissed off. I'm drafting Jordan Love over Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson's going to be a bust.
There's a lot coming out of Indianapolis today on him, comparing him to Cam Newton and
my reasoning for thinking he's going to be a bust is he hasn't beaten any good college teams and his accuracy is suspect. So he does have the legs, and maybe coaches could work on his accuracy. But I'm not catching up with the hype of Anthony Richardson.
Interesting. Hey, real quick, AJB, not to bust your balls here, but what the heck's up with that question? Dynasty redraft, isn't that an oxymoron?
That is true.
How do you have dynasty redraft?
I don't like my team. Let's start over.
I think
either dynasty or redraft. Can you have dynasty? I've never seen that before. A dynasty redraft.
I think he meant but
you think he meant
maybe he meant like Scotty was talking about, a rookie draft that also has veteran free agents that you can take too. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
That happens. You don't see it very often. Oh, he says he has T-Law and Kenny Pickett.
Oh, if you got T-Law, then you can gamble with a guy like Love.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is awesome, man.
Yeah, T-Law is your QB1. I think this is Trevor Lawrence. If you can get shares of Trevor Lawrence, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, yes, he's like the Justin Herbert of last year.
You won't be able to get him next year because next year he's going to be like Burrow is this year. Very hard to get.
He called me an oxymoron. I love it. Oh man, the rookie draft with what? With free agents. Thank you, Kyle. Got it.
There's
You
Albert.
got these Bush League dynasty leagues now with redrafts and free agents.
What's up, Albert?
All right. So I guess our next rookie, since we kind of already talked about it, Anthony Richardson, we know what Scotty thinks. Tony, what do you think about Anthony Richardson in Indy?
I mean, again, I'm going to go back to it again. Anybody who gives you the rushing ability behind center is a guy that I'm interested in, because even if he doesn't have the arm talent, especially coming in as a rookie to put up points, in the air, these guys give you a higher floor, and he's extremely, extremely athletic. So, I'm not counting him out. It's funny because he started to pick up more and more steam as we got closer and closer to the draft. You heard of teams like the Raiders wanting to move up to get him. Of course, the Colts got him, but I'm not on the same page with Scotty on Anthony Richardson. I think if I was going to draft a quarterback in this year's rookie draft, Anthony Richardson is the guy that I want over Brees and over Stroud.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I just think his ceiling is so much higher.
I do too. I could see a similar trajectory to like Fields. Maybe he starts out slow, not passing the greatest, but he can run. And there's already been reports this year, of Fields throwing better and stuff this offseason. Like, I think that can be progressed just because he has such a lack of experience. I think that can be progressed. But like the natural running ability and stuff like that, you can't really teach that the same way. So I agree. If I was taking a QB in this draft, that's the one.
CJ Stroud makes me nervous. I mean, you saw all the reports that came out where he scored on his processing. We had a very low score on his ability to process things quickly. He didn't score high on the whatchamacallit test that they give to quarterbacks. So I'm a little bit. I mean, certainly he proved his value, at Ohio State, but guy like Anthony Richardson, I think the ceiling is sky high with a kid like that. He could be a bust, but I'm shooting for, if I'm drafting a rookie like that, I want a guy who gives me the highest ceiling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And everybody's got takes, and we didn't get the season going. But like I said, in college, he couldn't hit the windows. The windows are smaller in pros. Pros understand he has legs. He is a freak athlete, like you guys said. You can't take that away from him, and you can't teach that. But now you got professional athletes who literally the linebackers are now running 4.4s, going to pay attention to him, especially, depending on Jonathan Taylor's health as well.
Linebackers have gotten scary fast.
Yeah.
AJV says, you guys talked about Bijan. Yeah, you did miss it. We said Bijan's a bust. He's Trent Richardson 2.0. Stay away.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
So what more could we say about Bijan, everybody? I mean, it's to take his this guy to the moon. I mean, he's got the potential to be, he's going to be a league winner for years potentially.
Yeah.
Everyone is rooting that he does not tear his ACL, where we want to watch him succeed.
Yeah.
For real. Don't pull a Brees Hall. Don't play for 4 weeks, rip your knee, and then take the rest of the year off.
Yeah, and don't trade Bijan for Brees Hall. I did.
Who the hell would
who would do something stupid like that?
I mean, I guess if you really wanted Mingo, then you could
make
that move.
The only thing that would make that worse is trading Bijan to the guy who has Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Travis Etienne, and JT. That's the only thing that would make that trade worse.
Yeah, yes, but no,
loading him up even more with another super elite, kind of help him lock up the league for the next 10 years.
But he really wanted Jonathan Mingo. You don't understand.
Nah. As they bust my balls, you're putting Brees Hall.
Man, that was the worst team to trade him to. I was like, man, that killed me when I saw where he went. I'm like, of all teams, why? What guy gives give him even
because that team was the only team that had the juice to actually trade for Bijan.
Yeah. No, that's not true.
Nobody else had the running back.
It is true. Trade. You guys are really downgrading Brees Hall too, so I understand the
nobody
ACL.
had the no. I love Brees Hall.
No, I like Brees too. We're just busting chops.
No,
right,
no,
what we got?
Tony,
What's up, Kyle?
No, Tony, I'm breaking
So
your
we
neck.
got AJB asking if DeAndre Swift is a top 5 running back. I submit
No.
that he is not.
No.
I don't
No.
even think it's in the range of outcomes for Swift, and it's that is a nightmare running back room. And Swift is a guy who can just he cannot stay healthy, can't stay on the field. I think they're really gonna put a governor on this guy and limit the number of times he touches the football in a game.
Oh, shit.
Plus, we've got a running back with Jalen Hurts. I never like to take the
got the
second
cockpit.
rusher on a football team.
We got the cockpit here. I broke my microphone.
We got the captain in the house
up,
finally.
Captain?
Finally.
Jeez, dude.
Not too much. I got you on my iPad because I couldn't get the computer to work. No idea
Oh,
what's
that's
going on.
not good. That's not good. You might
Yeah.
try turning it sideways. It might. There we go.
Oh, is that better? Cool.
Yeah, we can see that
Maybe just
handsome
off
face
the
better
wild side now.
All right, so who y'all want to talk about next? Gibbs.
I want
He
to
could
talk
be-
about cockpit.
He could be top
Yeah.
5 over Swift. How about that?
Oh, Gibbs. I love Gibbs. Gibbs was the perfect example where he landed. You're like, oh, that's the worst spot ever. Then the trade happened. You're like, oh, that's the best spot ever.
Exactly. As soon as
I was
Swift
like,
was gone, I was
what
like,
just?
what?
Yeah. Holy crap!
Yeah,
It's
I
like
just
you go on
basically
a
drafted
date.
the next
It's like
Swift.
you go on a date with a chick you hate, and then all of a sudden she's like, "I'll blow you on the first date." You're like, "Oh, I guess you'll do."
Guess I'll marry you then.
Yeah, I'll get the ring on the way. Yeah, on the way home, I'll get you a ring. That's exactly what happened with Gibbs.
I don't think we need to go into too much more detail there.
Here's-
Smith and Jigma.
Wait. Let me just real quick on Gibbs. Just 2 quick points. Absolutely love Gibbs. 2 things about him. Elite receiver out of the backfield. And you gotta love getting a guy where the GM and the coach are pounding the table when they draft him.
Yes.
You know, they didn't care where anybody else had him ranked. They drafted this guy early in the first, and they couldn't have been more ecstatic about it. So, you know, this is their guy now in Detroit. He's going to see the ball an awful lot. I'd be just stoked if I had the number 2 pick. I mean, I've seen some where they put Gibbs over Bijan.
Yeah,
That's
especially
a
his
little
draft
bold,
capital.
but
It's bold. I'm just saying.
His draft
but I
capital.
get it. Yeah.
You got to give him the ball, and he's
Well,
going to play
especially when we've seen what Swift can do when he's healthy in that offense, and it's only gotten better. So they basically just drafted him again. So he's got the draft capital, and yeah, like coaches like him, so he's going to get well used.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll actually stay healthy.
Exactly. Swift does have the skill set. It's just health wise.
Yeah. So let's talk about Smith and Jigba. How we loving the Seattle landing spot for him?
I like it. I mean, he's better than Taylor Lockett now, and Lockett did pretty well in his career with Seattle. I understand Russell Wilson was the quarterback there, but Geno Smith played well last year. DK is not going to allow him to get double teamed, so one-on-ones, beat the one-on-ones.
Well, and Lockett's not going to be around forever either. So,
Right.
like, him and DK will be that group for a while, even if it's not Geno for the foreseeable future, at least for the next few years it is. And to me, like, we saw Tyler Lockett and DK both be successful with Russell Wilson there. So if they get even another quarterback in the future, but Jackson Smith and Jay was just nice because he does more after the catch than Tyler Lockett does. Tyler Lockett's always been a possession guy, but still produced. So if he can get all those targets in the future and really do a lot of yards after the catch, he's going to be very valuable.
I agree.
Professor, do you concur?
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw an interview with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and JSN when they were all in Ohio State together.
All the same one.
And Garrett Wilson and Olave both admitted that JSN is the most athletic out of the 3 of them, which is kind of think about that for a second.
Yeah.
This guy is the perfect complement to DK. And he is going to be the best friend to a quarterback. He's going to run all those short to intermediate routes. And like the captain said, you know, what he can do with the ball after the catch. This guy's really limited. I love him in this offense. I think it's a great fit. And if you're sitting at the 3 spot and you miss out on one of those 2 running backs, you got to be super excited to get easily the best receiver in the rookie draft. I think he's in a standalone tier at on the receiver position. He's really in that elite tier. And then you got the Addisons and you got, the Flowers and all the other ones that come after him.
Yeah, which Addison is actually the next one I was going to bring up. I love the landing spot in Minnesota for him.
His route running is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
what now? You might know, Professor. What's the questions on Addison?
I don't think there are any questions on him. I think the only question that I would have on Addison, is the target share. I think he's immediately going to jump KJ Osborne as the number 2 in that offense.
Yeah.
So I don't think there are any questions on him. It was just kind of the landing spot. And at the receiver position in fantasy, you have to have the volume. And so, is there a path to volume in a real target share for Jordan Addison? And I think there is. So I think it's a wonderful landing spot for him. And I think he really has in this offense. There's a possibility that he could have the highest target share out of any receiver drafted this year.
Well, I feel the same because I sent a bag to the captain to move up 1 spot. So, I mean, we made a deal.
I love to get.
I
was surprised he lasted as long in our rookie because in our rookie draft, he was there. It's funny because I messaged the captain. I'm like,
10.
man, yeah, you got to be. I mean, I said, how are these 2 guys still there?
So,
Addison and Flowers. But yeah, go ahead.
I was speaking to Kyle throughout the draft too, and I had the 7th pick, and I didn't think Addison was going to reach me at 7, and I went, "Oh God, you're making this hard because I had Kincaid set. I'm like, I'm picking Kincaid. I want to set up that tight end, blah blah blah. Addison dropping. I'm like, what's going on here? So I picked Kincaid, and then I started to talk to the teams after me. I'm like, all right, yo, I'm interested. He ignored me. Next guy ignored me. Thank God Captain picked up his phone. Captain was like, yeah, no problem, but you're going to have to give me your ball bag. And I was like, let me think about giving you my ball bag. Then I thought about it for 3 seconds, and I gave him my ball bag. Captain liked it. That's why he's in the cockpit.
I did that same thing, though, that you did after your pick, trying to get Addison. I did the same thing at the beginning of the second, trying to get ahead of the captain to get Roshan, and the son of a bitch. Got him anyways because nobody would trade those picks. So
yeah, and the only, like you said, the only question to Addison is what's his ceiling as the number 2 there, because he's obviously not going to overtake Justin Jefferson, but the guy's uber talented. But I think something people forget of when Adam Thielen left Minnesota, he was a big touchdown guy for Kirk Cousins. All except for last year, and I mean he's getting much older. The first 2 seasons with Justin Jefferson, he paced him or better in touchdowns. He was the guy that did that. And so I really think if Addison can find open space, and Justin Jefferson's taking all the big coverage, like there's going to be room for touchdowns to go out there. Because he had 14 3 years ago, 10 2 years ago, and yeah, only 6 last year, but it was a different offense. I think last year there was some weird games happening with them last year. Minnesota was a very weird team to watch.
The Hawkinson TD boost too.
Yes, that was another huge thing too.
I think Hawkinson helps Addison. I think he moves the linebackers out of the way too. So
I think if you look,
a unique player. Addison's a unique player too, because we got to see him in 2 very different offenses when he was with Kenny Pickett in Pitt, playing out of the slot a lot. That's probably where he was at his best, but he was allowed to play outside a lot at USC and really get vertical and show that he was he can run a lot of routes. He's very versatile. He can succeed all around the field. And so I think he's going to be a nice pairing with Justin Jefferson as well, which makes him really exciting. And to me, he's probably the second wide receiver for me in this class, just because of the landing spot. The opportunities are there. Like no one else is going to get the opportunities in this class that he will, because he's immediately going to be the 2 there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if you look at pass attempts last year, Minnesota was 3rd. So they like to throw the football an awful lot, and we've seen that team support two solid receivers in both Jay Jettas and also with Adam Thielen. So with Thielen gone, we slide him into that role. Thielen last year was about 18 to 20% of the target share. So if we kind of project that over onto Addison, that's a pretty good target share for a rookie. And I personally, I'm not too worried about Hawkinson. Hawkinson does not command the type of target share in this offense that you might want from an elite tight end. He's, kind of in that 10 to 12 range. So again, great landing spot. Thielen's gone. He's going to surpass Osborne. Ton of upside with him. You did a good job, Scotty, going up and getting this guy.
We'll see.
No, it was a great get.
Traded tomorrow.
It was a great get.
All right, now let's talk about Quentin Johnston. Great landing spot, but I'll let the captain take it over from here because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He warned us about this guy before the draft.
Yeah, I'm really concerned with what he's going to be able to do. Maybe as a third wide receiver, he'll be fine because he's going to get some easier coverages. Maybe he'll just be allowed to take the top off and maybe allows Keenan Allen and Williams to do more. But I can't like him. He's a body catching guy. I know he's capable of catching with his hands. It just seems in a game at game speed, he just wants to body catch. He's not a great contested catch guy. I really think he's just going to get bullied by some of these DBs in the NFL. And if you're dropping passes, you're not going to Herbert's not going to have time for you when he's got two other guys plus Eckler out there. So as much as he might run a lot of routes as a third wide receiver there, but I don't think he's getting targets.
Do you think? Do you know who I think Quentin Johnston's going to be like? He's going to be like. Do you guys remember Kevin White from the Bears? He was a big, tall wide receiver. He got drafted, I believe, in the first round. I guess I'm going back pretty far, but he just popped in my head.
I was saying, I haven't been that far. It's only been 10 years or so, right?
Yeah. So, you forgot him. Exactly.
I forgot him until you talked about when you said Bears. I was like, oh, yeah.
I agree with exactly what Captain's saying. I mean, he does a lot of body catches. You're not going to do that with lockdown corners and even decent corners. They're going to be all over him. And he's going to be the deep ball guy. I don't see him catching more than 60 passes. He's just going to be like a waiver wire guy eventually.
It's definitely not their long-term answer at Keenan Allen replacement.
No.
Yeah, two very different players.
I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's their long-term new number one, and it's just that's not going to happen.
No. He's not even replace Mike Williams. Mike Williams, if he was healthy, he would be a ridiculous receiver. He just gets hurt all the time, but he's not even as good as Mike Williams.
Yeah. Mike Williams even gets hurt because he's laying out for the ball and then he's breaking stuff when he hits the ground again.
Some of his catches are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
He plays receiver hard like Kittle plays tight end.
Yes.
Just reckless abandon.
Agreed.
Anything to add there, Tony?
I mean, you guys have pretty much covered everything. What's that?
Said you're being awfully quiet.
Well, I'm letting the experts talk.
Makes sense.
I think my only thing with Quentin Johnston, I think the one reason why we're all thinking about him in a most dynasty rookie drafts, he went as the kind of that number 2 receiver after Addison. It's because of where he went. He's got Justin Herbert throwing him the football, and anytime you got an elite quarterback with an elite arm throwing a rock like that, there's a possibility that he could catch on. I do think that it's going to be a rough go for him, unless I've seen here the past couple of days that there's a possibility that the Chargers are going to move on from Keenan Allen and try and move him in the offseason. So that changes the conversation. If I tell you Keenan Allen's not on that team week 1, then what do you think about Quentin Johnston? Then he has a real path to target share in that offense. So maybe that changes a little bit, and you can see a little bit more upside with him. So I would pass on him, and I go for other guys if it were me. But you gotta like where he landed with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I think if they traded Keenan Allen, I'd still let somebody else take the chance on him.
Sure.
Because then everybody's going to be thinking exactly what you just said, and he's going to get overdrafted again, just like he is in rookie drafts now.
Right.
So, I'll let somebody else take that plunge.
Mhm.
Fair enough.
If Keenan Allen leaves, sell him as high as you can.
I like that.
Yes.
Now that's a plan I can get behind for sure.
Yes.
All right, how do we like Zay Flowers in Baltimore?
To me, he's too small.
He
I don't like small receivers. He's like a Marquise Brown. But I mean, people could like Marquise Brown. I don't want to say that he's going to have a bad career, and Marquise Brown could have a good career. I personally don't like receivers like that.
Guy's super talented.
Yes. And to me, Baltimore was a weird landing spot.
I
just
agree.
because it's starting to get crowded there in Baltimore, and Lamar barely supports one good wide receiver right now. So it's tough when you have to share. Like Rashad Bateman's already there, Odell's there now, Mark Andrews is still there. He's still the number one. I just don't know what to. I was kind of sad to see him go to Baltimore. Like I feel like they'll make him a gadget player, and I know it can be more than a gadget player. I wasn't huge on it, but he has the talent, and so it all depends on what they do there. Because Bateman hasn't really been a product of health,
Yeah,
So,
I just don't know if there's enough targets to go around for everybody now.
Baltimore does not throw the ball very often.
No.
So, that definitely hurts Zay. I don't know where he's at in the pecking order. Of course, we know Mark Andrews is at the top. And even he had struggles last year in this offense. So this is a quarterback. We've got to see some growth out of Lamar. It's a guy who his default is to run the ball. Anytime he runs into any type of trouble, he runs with the football. So he's got to learn to trust the arm. And I don't want to necessarily tell him to be more of a pocket passer, but until we see him put it a little bit more in the air, and he's got issues with accuracy. So that all kind of works against Flowers. I agree. He's super talented, though.
Yeah, you know where I would have loved to see Zay Flowers go? Switch him with Quentin Johnson. Put him on the Chargers.
That would have been gross.
If Zay Flowers went to the Chargers, then I'm like, yes, getting stock on Zay Flowers. He didn't excite me going to Baltimore. I don't trust Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But Zay Flowers does have the talent. Like I said, I'm not trying to knock Marquise Brown and that type of player, Deshaun Jackson, but he's in a tough position. But if Zay Flowers went to the Chargers with Justin Herbert, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that would have been very, very different. I was
or even
surprised.
the Bills.
Yeah, exactly. In the McKenzie role, like,
we could have finally fucked
so good.
Gabe Davis off into
so
the ether.
good.
And
I know. I could put him in free agency in Dynasty. I have to stick with Gabe Davis just in case.
Just in case. All right. Speaking of the Bills, how about Dalton Kincaid?
Love it.
I love the landing spot. I love the talent. I saw a deal today saying he's like the next Kelsey because of his talent and landing spot.
I don't want to put him into.
I think that's a very bold statement.
Yeah. Give me a Zach Ertz. You compare him to Zach Ertz, which I'll take that too. But no, I don't want to hype him up that big. But you have to like it because he's with if he doesn't get hurt, a Hall of Fame quarterback. He does love to heave the ball around. And he's going to be a TD machine too. So, and Diggs is getting older.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not truly, I think, a number two in that offense that is easily not going to be pushed out of that spot, right? So I think he could really take over as the other, like the next end zone target opposite of Diggs. Diggs is the first one. It's like, all right, where's Kincaid? He's the next one.
I could see Kincaid putting Hawkinson numbers up this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like he
as a rookie, you think?
He was.
I mean, that's his ceiling. I think that's his ceiling. That's his ceiling.
I would probably. What's that, Captain?
I think he can go 500 yards with Buffalo on the season at least, like as a floor.
Hawkinson finished for more than that last year, no? What did
I don't know
Hawkinson
what he
finish with
finished
last year?
Hawkinson
Did he play
probably
last
is in
year?
the 700 range, but I'm saying that's his ceiling. I'm not saying that's what I expect from him. I'm not expect like I have Kincaid, as you guys know. He's going to be on my bench. I have Waller for the year just so I could let Kincaid build up.
And I think that's fair expectation. Dawson Knox is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some shared snaps. Kincaid is not coming in and just kind of dominating the snap share. So I think that's going to hurt his ceiling a little bit. But I do agree with you there, Scotty. I think if you project him a year or two out, that's kind of where you can start to get excited about him.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see a repeat of Pitt's rookie year where he almost beat the yardage record for a rookie, but we might see a couple more touchdowns.
That and like Cockpit said, I see 500 yards for him.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, because Knox is always fine. Like I think Allen has made him better than he is just because he's Josh Allen. Like Knox, I think, isn't super dangerous as a runner, whereas Kincaid is. Kincaid looks really good catching the ball. He's capable of blocking enough, so he's getting on the field regardless because he's a good blocker.
He looks like a wide receiver.
Here's it. So I like Kincaid. Believe me, I like Kincaid. I sent offers to Scotty for Kincaid. Josh Allen's got that big arm. He likes to press the football. He's a down the field passer. And last year, they committed 12% of the target share to the tight end position. So that could change. Let's say it's 15%. But there's going to even be a breakdown in that. It's not going to be 50% all to Kincaid. It could be 10% to Kincaid, 5% to Dawson Knox. And that's what kind of caps his ceiling a little bit. I think we've got to give this kid a year or two, I think, really to kind of develop in this offense. And, I think it's unfair to kind of start talking about him in the Kelsey kind of conversation going into
and I can't really compare anyone to Kelsey. I think Kelsey's just
I agree.
He's a one of, like, you'll never find anything else like him. I mean, a Hawkinson type, like he's not a Kittle runner, but maybe he could be a Hawkinson type. But it's there's just so much about Kincaid. Like he's a pretty complete guy. He's gonna find ways to get on the field, and because of the lack of a true 2 and 3 receiving option there, I feel like he's gonna get quite a bit of looks.
And I'm sorry, McKenzie's not there this year, and also I believe Knox got hurt for a couple games last year, so I don't even know who their tight end was, other than Knox.
By the way, Hawkinson finished last year with 914 passing yards. So
so I think that
more than 500.
I'll take your 2 first rounders. Yes, I think Kincaid's going to do that right now. I think he has 900 yards now, Tony. You can send those 2 first rounders.
No way. 900 yards. No way it happens.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would love if it does.
Yeah, we'll
remember
this moment when it does.
No, Hawkinson ceiling, I think 500 is his floor. I think he's going to get 500 yards.
Okay, I can go with. 500 is a lot different than 900.
You can almost guarantee that.
Yeah. 500 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I think he's got he's got a good touchdown ceiling. I think we might see more than 5 out of him.
Yeah, I could see 5 to 10 out of him.
Especially with Buffalo talking about pulling Josh Allen back a little bit. We'll see how that works this year. But, inside the 5-yard line, I don't know Josh Allen's going to be running in it as much as he did the past couple seasons. We might see him lean a little bit more on a guy like Kincaid for those red zone looks.
They could also transfer over to Damian Harris too. Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. And that offense has to be reevaluated a little bit after getting embarrassed in playoffs. I was at that game. Just dreadful everywhere. No one played good.
No. All right, here's one I've been interested to hear everybody's thoughts on. Charbonnet and McIntosh drafted to Seattle. What the hell?
I'll leave this to Tony.
Well, I'm not worried about McIntosh. I mean, Charbonnet.
He's the pass catcher out of the 3, though, isn't he?
He's not.
That's all McIntosh is. McIntosh is just he's just a pass catcher. That's all he is.
He's DJ Dallas. He's DJ Dallas 2.0.
Yeah. First off, let me preface saying I've got Walker. So That's not going to influence my take, though.
You're a liar.
I think people are way overreacting on this draft, on this pick.
You said I was being wishful thinking with Rashad White earlier. Let's hear your wishful thinking.
No, that's not wishful thinking. I mean, Kenneth Walker, he's this guy's an elite back. I mean, he is the real deal. He is an RB1. As much as I like Charbonnet, he is not taking Walker's spot. Whatever you heard Pete Carroll say, that's coach speak. Kenneth Walker is going to be the lead running back in this offense.
Especially with Pete Carroll. He's kind of the king of bullshit when it comes to coaches.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I think Charbonnet is a top 10 running back in the league if he lands in the right team. But on this team, he's not going to be that. I like Charbonnet. I think if you have Walker, you have to have Charbonnet as a cuff, because if anything happens to Walker, Charbonnet is going to be a top 5 running back. I think he has that type of upside. I actually, to be honest with you, now that the dust is settled, I like the idea of Seattle having Charbonnet because it protects Walker. We saw Walker get dinged up a little bit last year, and this probably prolongs his career and prevents him from that injury bug in Seattle. But Walker, I'm going to predict right now that Walker finishes the season as a top 5 running back in fantasy. So I'm talking more about Walker than Charbonnet. Charbonnet's value was killed going to Seattle. I know people were clamoring him to wind up with a team like Atlanta. He goes to Atlanta, we're having a completely different conversation.
So you still feel that way, though? Charbonnet scared me to begin with, scared everybody, of course, and then you said the dust settled. They also picked that wide receiver in the first round as well. So...
But that all helps Walker. Walker, this guy is totally different type. He's a totally different type of cat. He's not going anywhere in this offense. So does he touch the ball a little bit less? Maybe his ceiling is lowered a little bit. He doesn't get as many looks out of the backfield. They bring in Charbonnet to spell him. Maybe Charbonnet gets some of those goal line touches, because this guy, they call him the running rhino,
They do.
So I can see in those short yardage situations, maybe Charbonnet, but man, Kenneth Walker is just. Again, keep it on Charbonnet. Charbonnet's value took a huge blow going to Seattle. Now, I did a deal with the captain and got his number 4 pick, and because I have Walker, I felt I purposely took that pick or targeted that pick so that I could get Charbonnet to cuff him to Walker. Because in the dynasty league, I can't imagine having Walker without Charbonnet.
Yeah.
If you got Charbonnet, you're good. It's almost like having Alexander Madison. If you have Alexander Madison, you don't have to have Cook. But if you have Cook, boy, you better make sure you got Madison. Same type thing here. That's my take on Walker.
To me, Charbonnet is probably the most talented handcuff in the league. Like, there's no one else that's been. Yeah, it looks as dangerous as him. And like you said, I think he's going to be really valuable in just 1-year leagues, where like non-keeper leagues, mainly because I think at the end of the season, if Seattle, like, that division's not looking as strong as it has in the past, I'm really thinking it's going to be them in San Francisco. Rams are going to probably take a step back. Same with Arizona. So if they're well in the playoffs, do they rest Walker end of the season, give him a few extra buys, let Charbonnet run, and then Charbonnet has some value late in the season going into your playoffs? You can be free in a lot of non-dynasty leagues. So that's something I think could be interesting. Or like you said, that he just gets spelled at the end of games. So maybe Walker doesn't see over 20 carries in a game. Maybe 20 is the number, and if they're leading, Charbonnet comes in, let him have some experience, and
let Charbonnet have the garbage time.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's the garbage time stuff. But yeah, Walker's elite. He doesn't need many opportunities.
Garbage time is always when your studs get hurt. So it's good to have someone you could put in there instead.
Yeah.
So if you're in a dynasty league, me personally, and you don't have Walker, there's a time to buy him, get him, buy Walker low if you got an owner who's panicked about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What's up, Wright? Welcome in. Let's see. Who do y'all? We're running a little low on time. Who do y'all want to talk about next? A-Chain or Kendre Miller?
Talk about Kendre.
Let's do
I-
Kendre then.
I was,
He was
I
the
was-
first one to say Kendre, so let's go Kendre.
Yeah, I love it. I love where he goes. There's another guy, this guy could be a 3-down back. And Kamara's getting older. Kamara's looking at a potential suspension. Kamara hasn't looked like the Kamara that we have kind of known over the past several years.
Yeah.
So I
now he's
think
going to
this
jail.
guy went to a great spot, and we can see him come in, maybe not immediately, but at some point begin to develop into that RB1 on that Saints offense.
Yeah, and they also have Jamal Williams, who's about 78 years old. So he's
Actually,
At
I think
least.
he's the same age as Zeke, actually. And
we all know what happens after you blow your load with that many touchdowns. He falls asleep.
Exactly. Nap time.
Yeah. I have him, by the way, if anybody wants to, Jamal Williams. Fuck.
You have him?
Yeah, dude. I took over the team.
As soon as Kendre got drafted, Jamal Williams over there on Scotty's bench going, God damn it.
When he got picked, that's when I went after Addison, because it was either Addison or him, because I was going to just use Jamal as the cuff, because I'm not afraid of Kamara anymore.
I think Jamal Williams just used to take handoffs from Drew Bledsoe.
Dude. Yeah, I without it. And Brett Favre.
Exactly. I guess. Where's he? Oh, he's in New Orleans. Who was a New Orleans quarterback back then? I can't remember. Maybe, I guess Breeze.
Manning.
Manning. Yeah, I was going to say
Manning.
Yeah, Archie Manning.
Uh,
What do you got? You got anything on him, Captain?
Kendrick Miller was a weird one for me. He was a guy that I wasn't really excited about, but I didn't hate him. He just did a lot of things good, just nothing I thought super well. Like, I didn't think he was a pass blocker well. He caught some passes, but he had weird hands sometimes. Like, I couldn't tell if it was bad throwing from the quarterback for whoever the TCU had, but I thought there was quite a few drops that he could have dealt with a little bit better. Didn't think he was the most explosive runner. I don't know, he just did a lot of things good, like just good. And I'm like, and so I don't see him overtaking. I think he's a stepping stone running back. I think he'll be fine. I think you can grind him to get you 1,000 yards kind of type. But I don't know if he'll ever be. I don't think he'll ever be an RB1. I think at best he'll be a low end RB2. But that I could be wrong. But it is a great offense. It's a great offense. He could get run into the ground there and be just fine, but he could also be like Chuba Hubbard. So
he also wasn't a pass catcher in college, and he's like more like a Brian Robinson to me. And I think you guys all will agree with me. After Bijan and Gibbs, I didn't lose sleep if I didn't get a running back in the rookie drafts.
Well, unless you did like I did and drafted
everyone, dude. You lose who you see the running backs going, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you see Kyle's team, and you're like, he's the dude who. What the hell happened to my computer?
Yeah,
he's the dude.
I was texting him as he did that, and said that would be legendary if he just picked the ball within 5 seconds, like 5 picks in a row, just back.
Dude,
I was like, man, if I take 10 running backs, one of them's got to hit.
I didn't realize it was Kyle picking all those running backs.
So, Scotty, I agree unless you were in my shoes. It's funny because the night before our draft, I called. I don't know if I called you, Kyle, or texted, but there was a possibility that that JSN and Charbonnet were going to drop to me at 4. And so the dilemma then for me was, do I take JSN or do I take Charbonnet? And I kind of woke up in like a sweat the night before our draft, thinking that Charbonnet wasn't there for me at 4 after I had made this trade with the captain, and I wanted that 4 pick to get Charbonnet. And so I woke up the morning and like, I don't care if JSN is there or not, I'm taking Charbonnet. So I sent Kyle text. I said, I wrote a note to myself saying, no matter what, take Charbonnet, from draft day.
Whoever had the fifth pick would have been.
You got. I mean, if you have Kenneth Walker again, I just think you put you in a different boat. You got to figure out a way to get Charbonnet on your roster.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but other than that, I agree with you. I don't know if there's any running back where I said, man, I got to get that guy.
In the second round for me, that was Roschon. Like it was at 110.
You were a son of a bitch.
I was really debating between Addison and the 110 and Roschon. Sorry, I was really debating because I wanted Roschon so bad, and this would have been my last pick because I love the landing spot in Chicago. You want name one running back, like one NFL team that has probably the weakest running back room. That is Chicago. He's got to beat Donta Foreman and Khalil Herbert. He could literally do that halfway through the season. Donta Foreman could barely beat out Chuba Hubbard in Carolina. I love, like, Roschon was as efficient in college per game as Bijan. Like, they put up very similar stats when you look at as far as percentage with opportunities, what they were doing, their averages, very, very similar. It was fantastic to see, and he's a big dude. Like, he can block really well. Like, I love what Roschon was.
Yeah, I lied. So Captain kind of knew. I was fighting in the draft to trade for Khalil Herbert. And I said, I'm not going for Addison. If I get Khalil Herbert, I'm not getting Addison because I was going for Johnson. And I love him with the Bears. I'm not scared of Foreman. I just wanted his cuff just in case. I'm like, you know what? Herbert's playing well. He's 25 years old. If I could get Herbert, I'm definitely picking him with the 2-1. I had the first pick in the second round. And that guy didn't respond to anything. So I got Addison instead. But I would have loved to have Johnston and Herbert on my team for sure.
Dude, there was so you took Zay Flowers at 2-1, and then you ended up with Roschon at 2-4, I believe.
2-4. Yep.
I almost had 2-2 and 2-3 in trades, and then they both ended up getting traded somewhere else at the last minute. And I'm just like, fuck. Yeah. Like, I was so mad because I wanted Roschon because I knew if I didn't get those picks, you were gonna take him, and I was so pissed when it actually happened that way. I was like,
because I was able to, when I traded Bijan, I was able to keep those picks to get Addison. So it was Bijan for Breece Hall, Addison, and Mingo.
Yeah, because I had an offer out to him, and he's like, I may take this, and then like 2 minutes later, yours went through, and I was like, shit.
That's
I was like, I can't compete with that one. Like, it was this close.
Yeah.
And then 2-3, I forget who had. Oh, Derryberry.
I was because you guys, dude. I was getting 6 teams talking to me at once. So I was with Cockpit. I said, so we have that deal. I will get Addison for this, and he's like, yes. So then I went over to Corey. I said, hey, do you still give me that second pick? Because I want Mingo. I want Addison and Mingo if I'm giving up Bijan. Yes, no problem. And that's I was only doing it if I was getting both receivers with Breece Hall.
Scotty, you're funny, Scotty. Scotty's like you can tell Scotty's a guinea from Jersey because he's like he sends me messages. He's like, hey, I want to do the thing with the guy before, but I need to know before I do, with the first guy, not the second guy. He's like, because I got something else going on with this guy, but I can't do it with your guy until I know what's going on with my guy. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
1,000.
He's got like, he's like,
make it deals.
He's over there texting like this. Just in the
there's somebody I'm talking to. I forgot who I'm talking to.
Yeah. I'm like, who are you talking about? The first guy or the second guy?
No, it was funny though, because after James took Roschon, I literally just decided I'm going to burn the world down and take all the other running backs.
that Roschon pick was awesome. I love him, and I still have a lot of work to do because all your teams are absolutely fucking loaded.
But you turned that team around in a week, dude.
I need time.
Like, that was incredible because the other guy was in there for what, 2 or 3 months and didn't do anything.
No, all he talked about was taking CJ Stroud with the one.
He came in a week. It was a whole new team. It's like, whoa, all right, yeah, we got the right guy.
I still got work.
I don't know what you're doing on time, Kyle, but I just real quick, I want to get
about to wrap up here, probably.
Scotty and Captain's take. Somebody you talked about that seemed to me was I kind of read different things. Some people absolutely love this guy. Some people are not as high on him. But that's Jonathan Mingo. Like what you got him, Scotty. But what is it that gets you excited about Mingo?
No, Mingo is more of like the behind Addison. Mingo is for pure upside. I wanted Hyatt from the Giants too. He's more of a guy where I'm not comfortable with just him, but I'll take him off waivers. I'll take the shot with them. I like the spot Mingo's in with Carolina. I like his size. He did well in college, and it's more where he landed than who he is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
What do you think about
Yeah.
that, Captain?
Yeah,
Nick.
like there's not really a lot of like aging talent ahead of him. Or sorry, there's a lot of aging talent ahead of him. There's not much talent that is aging.
Talent, yeah.
Because Thielen's old, DJ Shark is there, and I've quietly been like a DJ Shark fan the last few years because I think he is talented. He just keeps finding these bad situations and never getting used. But like because Thielen's getting old. Like he's 32, he's slowing down. It's showing. Like he's like Carolina is now like getting Bryce Young. Like they're gonna be better. And Bryce Young's a really smart guy. Mingo is one of the few big guys in this class, 6'2", 220. Decently fast. Like he ran what did he run? 4.46. So like sub 4.5 is great, especially at 6'2". Like big man trying to move around. Like I think he's gonna do really well there. I think he'll be fine. Like Bryce Young's gonna find him. Like even if he's behind Thielen, DJ Shark for this year, it's like learn what you can from the vets because it's his offense probably going forward. Like learn as much as you can while I don't know, Thielen still has legs.
Yeah, I'm trying to stock up. I'm trying to stock up on. I'm sorry, we are cutting on time, but I'm trying to stock up on young wide receivers because I know I have to try to compete in this league, and your guys' teams are, like I said, loaded. I'm trying eventually to give 3 multiple young talented guys for a stud receiver, and like that's. I only had 2 trade when I got the team. I only had Jacobs and Bijan as people that people were interested in. Now I need to find trades to get people that people are interested in. So I'm hoping Mango could turn into something, but I'm trying to get.
There's a lot of people with very full rosters right now that can't
yeah.
do those types of trades.
I know. No, I know.
If I do a 1 for 3, I'm going to be way over the limit.
It's tough. It's tough. But that's what my goal is. That's what I'm trying to do. I need a receiver, and I like to get another running back. And
Well, I'll tell you one way to do that.
you? Trading with you?
You can if you want, yeah. But I think one way to do that. I mean, one of the ways that I had to do it. Those 2024 first round picks. I mean, those things are gold right now. So, you attach that to a trade offer, and I think that completely changes the value of that offer. That next year's draft, and we're talking about 23, but just kind of projecting ahead next year it's a loaded draft. So
especially for receivers.
What's that?
Especially for wide receivers.
100%.
Georgia's tight end, the other Georgia tight end, Brock Bowers.
Yep.
He'll declare next year for
Bowers
sure.
is exciting.
Well, you could hold the entire first
Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, top 2 picks next year.
Well,
yeah.
I haven't looked at
once
next year's
again
class at all. So
I'll tell you this. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Next year.
I'll be honest with you, Kyle. Depending on who has the first pick, I mean, you got to really consider Caleb Williams.
Oh, stud.
I mean, that guy set you up at the quarterback position for the next 15 years, a generational quarterback. So,
and you got
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, Marvin
Harrison
Jr. and Caleb Williams and Captain and Professor. I guarantee their picks won't stay. I'm sure they're going to make trades, but they know they're going to get a haul from me because
I've already given too many of the ones I kind of.
I'm going to be in desperate need of a quarterback next year.
Captain ripped them from me.
Tony, I was going to say, Tony had like half a dozen of them at one point. He's down to 2 now.
I had 5 at one point. I'm down to 2.
I had none. I had no first round picks next year.
So I gave you one. I gave you one for one this year.
I basically traded away my 3 first round picks this year and somehow ended up with 3 next year.
Yeah, thanks to me.
All the picks, the 4, the 7, and the 10. Yeah, I made the 10th pick, but I traded it too. So my 4, 7, and 10 this year are gone.
All 3 of the picks you have were from me. I traded to Kyle that he traded to you. than the other two I traded to. I think I had to decide if I was going to hold on to those picks for next year or if I wanted to have a team that could compete this year too. And I think once
And I somehow have 3 in 2025.
You do?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, you're cheating. There's something going on.
I don't know how it's happened. I've had
There's
at least
something going on
3
there.
in the last 2 years, and then now in the next 2 years as well.
Well, thank God this is not a big money league. I would have been.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit.
But hey, rookies is the way to go. They won me my ship last year just because they exploded.
Yeah, they did.
And then I shipped them all away.
And nobody felt good about the rookies last year either. And that was like, we had quite a few that did well. But, all right, fellas, I think we're going to call it there for the night. Appreciate y'all being here and hanging out. Appreciate AJ and Wright and everybody in the chat for hanging out. We will see you guys next time. Deuces.
Later, guys.